The signal came on an ordinary Tuesday, buried in the noise of a dying pulsar. Dr. Sarah Chen might have missed it entirely if her quantum detection array hadn't been calibrated to catch the faintest whispers of space. The message wasn't meant for human eyes. It was a routine status report between two alien vessels discussing Earth's primitive development status. For 3 days, Sarah kept the discovery to herself, analyzing and reanalyzing the data until she was certain. This wasn't just first contact. This was proof that humanity had been watched, studied, and dismissed by a galactic civilization that considered them unworthy of acknowledgement. The revelation should have been devastating. Instead, it ignited something in the halls of Earth's hidden research facilities. Humanity had survived ice ages, plagues, and their own destructive tendencies. They had clawed their way from caves to the stars while being secretly observed by advanced civilizations. And now, they knew they weren't alone. Admiral James Morrison stood before the United Earth Council, his weathered face illuminated by holographic displays showing the intercepted alien communications. "Ladies and gentlemen," he began, "we've been playing on a board we didn't even know existed. But these beings, these watchers as we're calling them, have made a critical mistake. They underestimated us because they think they understand us." The council chamber buzzed with tension as Morrison continued. "Their reports show they've been studying Earth for centuries, documenting our wars, our technological progress, our social structures. But they've missed something fundamental about human nature. We're at our most dangerous when we're underestimated. Deep beneath the lunar surface, in facilities unknown even to most of Earth's governments, humanity had already begun preparing for this moment. Project Phoenix, originally designed as a contingency against global catastrophe, was being repurposed. The quantum computing arrays, the dark matter reactors, the consciousness transfer protocols, all of it would serve a new purpose. Dr. Chen worked tirelessly with a team of the planet's brightest minds, decoding more intercepted communications. Each new discovery painted a clearer picture of the galactic political landscape. The Watchers weren't just observers, they were gatekeepers, deciding which species were worthy of joining galactic civilization. They think they're protecting the galaxy from volatile, unpredictable species, Dr. Chen explained to the council. But their arrogance has created exactly what they feared. A species that has developed in isolation, learning to solve problems in ways they've never imagined. Humanity's response would need to be precise, calculated, and completely unexpected. They couldn't match the Watchers' technology. Not yet. But they had something else. The element of surprise and the accumulated ingenuity of a species that had survived against all odds. In the Belt colonies, mining operations quietly shifted focus. Instead of extracting common ores, they began harvesting rare elements that, according to the intercepted data, were crucial to advanced alien technologies. On Mars, the terraform projects became cover for massive manufacturing facilities. The Watchers continued their observation, noting humanity's apparent struggle with basic space travel, their petty political conflicts, their seemingly primitive approach to energy generation. Their reports remained condescending, dismissive, exactly as humanity intended. But beneath this carefully maintained facade, Earth was changing. Quantum entanglement communication networks eliminated the need for detectable transmissions. New forms of propulsion were developed based on principles the Watchers had never considered. Humanity wasn't just catching up. They were forging their own path. Admiral Morrison's words to the council proved prophetic. For centuries, they'd watched us fight among ourselves, rebuild from disasters, and reach for the stars. They thought they were observing a primitive species. Instead, they'd been watching a forge, where humanity has been tempered by adversity into something unique in the galaxy. The first phase of humanity's emergence was about to begin, and the Watchers had no idea they were about to face a species that had turned their own surveillance into an advantage. Earth's children were ready to step onto the galactic stage, not as primitives seeking acceptance, but as equals who had earned their place through ingenuity and determination. The galaxy was about to learn that humanity's greatest strength wasn't in their technology or their weapons, but in their ability to turn disadvantage into opportunity. The age of observation was ending. The age of humanity's rise was about to begin. The quantum forge beneath Mount Erebus pulsed with energy as Dr. Elena Rodriguez adjusted the field harmonics. Around her, a technology that shouldn't exist according to conventional physics was taking shape. The Watchers' own data had confirmed their blindness to certain fundamental forces, gaps in understanding that humanity had already begun to exploit. Integration Test 17, Elena announced to her team, her voice steady despite the excitement building in her chest. The experimental drive core floating in the containment field represented humanity's greatest technological leap, a propulsion system that didn't just bend space, but wove through its fabric in ways the Watchers had never conceived. Above ground, Antarctica appeared unchanged, a frozen wasteland housing only research stations studying climate and wildlife. The Watchers' satellites passed overhead regularly, their sensors detecting nothing unusual. They couldn't see the revolution happening beneath the ice. In orbit, Commander David Zhang supervised the construction of what appeared to be a simple communications satellite. To the Watchers, it looked like yet another primitive attempt at improving Earth's telecommunications network. They didn't realize each satellite contained dormant quantum processors capable of linking into a galaxy-spanning computational network. Status report, Zhang commanded, watching through his viewport as another satellite moved into position. Network coverage at 60%, sir, his AI assistant responded. The Watchers' latest scan registered only standard communication signatures. The deception wasn't just technological. Humanity had learned to hide their advances behind a carefully constructed facade of normal development. Public space programs continued to use traditional rockets and made a show of struggling with basic challenges. Meanwhile, the real advances happened in shadows between scanner suites. Deep within the Gobi Desert, Dr. Wei Chan led the biological enhancement program. The Watchers think DNA is just a code, he explained to his team. They don't understand it's also a quantum antenna. His work wasn't about creating super soldiers or enhanced humans. It was about awakening capabilities that had lain dormant in human DNA for millennia. The breakthrough came when they discovered that human consciousness itself operated on quantum principles the Watchers had never detected. While alien species had pursued technological advancement, humanity had been unconsciously developing something far more powerful, minds that could intuitively grasp quantum mechanics at a fundamental level. In orbit, the first test of humanity's new capabilities approached. A Watcher probe, following its regular observation route, was about to pass through a sector where humanity had prepared a surprise. Commander Zhang gave the order, and for a fraction of a second, reality flickered. The probe's sensors registered nothing unusual, but in that brief moment, humanity had achieved what the Watchers thought impossible. They had created a pocket of space-time that existed outside normal detection parameters. The implications were staggering. Humanity could now operate in spaces the Watchers couldn't even perceive. Admiral Morrison received the test results with grim satisfaction. "How long until full deployment?" he asked his staff. 3 months, sir," came the response. "We can have the entire Sol system covered in quantum shadows by then." The timeline was aggressive but necessary. Intelligence suggested the Watchers were preparing for their centennial evaluation of Earth's development. They expected to find the same struggling civilization they'd observed for centuries. Instead, they would find an empty stage, humanity's greatest disappearing act. Dr. Chen's work had evolved from simply intercepting alien communications to understanding the fundamental principles of galactic politics. They categorize species based on technological advancement, she explained to the Council. But they have no framework for measuring innovation itself. We're not just advancing. We're advancing in ways they can't comprehend. The pieces were falling into place. Each day, more of humanity's true developments slipped behind the quantum veil, invisible to watching eyes. The public face of human civilization continued its predicted course, while beneath the surface, a revolution transformed the species. In her Antarctic lab, Dr. Rodriguez made the final adjustments to the drive core. "Integration test complete," she announced. "We're ready." The core's success meant humanity could now traverse vast distances without using conventional hyperspace routes the Watchers monitored and controlled. Earth's children had found their own path through the cosmos, one that would take them beyond the boundaries their observers had drawn. The silent revolution was nearly complete. Soon, humanity would step out of the shadows they had created, ready to take their place among the stars. Not as primitives, not as students, but as innovators who had turned surveillance into opportunity and limitations into advantages. The galaxy was about to learn that while they had been watching Earth, humanity had been watching back, and learning lessons the observers never intended to teach. The Galactic Commerce Authority's ships appeared without warning, a fleet of sleek vessels positioning themselves at key points throughout the solar system. Their message was clear: Earth's economy would be integrated into the galactic market, whether humanity wanted it or not. Admiral Morrison watched the alien fleet's deployment from his command center deep within Titan's ice crust. The massive holographic display showed each vessel's position, their weapon systems, their shield configurations, all gathered by Earth's invisible quantum network. "They think they're being generous," Dr. Chen said, analyzing the ultimatum the GCA had broadcast globally, offering to elevate us into their economic system, to guide our development. "Their timing is interesting," Morrison replied, his eyes never leaving the tactical display. "The Watcher's evaluation period isn't for another 3 months. The GCA is jumping the gun," Chen agreed. "They want to establish economic control before we're officially recognized as a spacefaring civilization." Classic corporate colonialism on a galactic scale. Throughout Earth's hidden facilities, systems that had been dormant for years hummed to life. In the Kuiper Belt, quantum-cloaked factories began launching their first products. Beneath Europa's ice, massive energy arrays powered up. Humanity had prepared for this moment. Not just the technology, but the strategy. The GCA's flagship, the Mercantile Dawn, hung in high Earth orbit like a gleaming sword of Damocles. Its commander, Trade Director Vextal, was confident in his position. After all, his fleet represented the combined economic might of 17 advanced civilizations. Earth was just another primitive world to be brought into the fold. "Your species has 2 standard cycles to accept our terms," Vextal announced to Earth's governments. "We offer you prosperity, order, and a place in galactic society." What Vextal couldn't know was that humanity had already infiltrated his ship's quantum systems. Dr. Rodriguez's team had spent the last 6 hours examining the alien vessel's technology from the inside out. Every weakness, every blind spot, every technological assumption had been cataloged and analyzed. "They're so focused on conventional threats that they've left themselves completely blind to quantum intrusion," Rodriguez reported. "Their entire command and control system is vulnerable." Morrison nodded grimly. "Then it's time to show them why observation isn't the same as understanding." The response to the GCA's ultimatum came not from Earth's governments, but from the void itself. In an instant, quantum shadows throughout the solar system transformed into humanity's hidden fleet. Ships unlike anything the galaxy had seen before, vessels that moved through space like living thoughts, powered by principles the GCA's sensors couldn't even detect. Vextal's first warning was his own ship's systems displaying an impossible message. "Thank you for the technological demonstration. Your services are no longer required." Before the trade director could respond, his fleet's systems began shutting down, not through violent cyber attack or brute force hacking, but through precise quantum manipulations that simply convinced their technology to stop working. Weapons, shields, propulsion, all quietly slipped into dormancy. "Impossible," Vextal whispered, watching his mighty fleet become nothing more than expensive space debris. "You're primitives. You're not even officially recognized." "Perhaps," came Morrison's reply, transmitted directly to the trade director's personal console. You should have spent more time understanding us instead of evaluating us. The human fleet emerged fully now, their quantum drive cores pulsing with impossible energy. They didn't need to fire a single shot. Their mere existence was a statement that shattered centuries of galactic assumptions. Dr. Chen's voice carried across all frequencies, reaching not just the GCA fleet, but the Hidden Watcher observation posts as well. For centuries, you've watched us struggle, adapt, and overcome. You've documented our wars, our disasters, our triumphs. But you never understood what you were seeing. You thought you were observing primitive creatures learning to walk. Instead, you were watching humanity learn to run. The GCA fleet hung powerless in space as humanity revealed more of their true capabilities. Quantum field generators reversed alien shield harmonics. Dark matter collectors negated advanced propulsion systems. Technologies that shouldn't exist worked in concert to demonstrate just how completely the galaxy had underestimated Earth. "We're not interested in your economic integration," Morrison informed Vextal. "We're not interested in being guided, controlled, or elevated into your system. What we are interested in is genuine cooperation between equals." As the human fleet surrounded the disabled GCA vessels, the message was clear. Humanity wouldn't be colonized, economically or otherwise. They had emerged onto the galactic stage, not as supplicants, but as innovators who had turned centuries of surveillance into an advantage. The trade director, watching his fleet's systems slowly return to life, finally understood. Earth hadn't just developed technology. They had developed it in ways that the galaxy's oldest civilizations had never imagined possible. The primitives weren't primitives at all. They were something entirely new. In the aftermath of the GCA confrontation, humanity's true nature emerged not through force, but through an insatiable curiosity that both frightened and fascinated the galactic community. The quantum shadows that had hidden Earth's development now became paths of exploration, allowing humans to walk unseen through the galaxy's greatest repositories of knowledge. Dr. Wei-Chan stood in the ancient archives of the Centaurian Collective, his quantum-enhanced consciousness interfacing directly with alien data structures. Around him, the accumulated knowledge of 12,000 years of galactic civilization hung like crystallized thoughts in the vast data space. "They never combined their technologies," he reported back to Earth. "Each species developed in isolation, building upon their own foundations, never truly learning from each other. They traded and shared, but they never merged." This was humanity's true advantage. Where other species saw boundaries between disciplines, humans saw bridges waiting to be built. Their minds, evolved in isolation and enhanced by their own innovations, worked differently from standard galactic consciousness patterns. In the Orion Spur, Commander Sarah Martinez led a team of knowledge hunters through the quantum shadows. Their mission wasn't espionage in the traditional sense. They sought understanding that the galaxy's established powers had overlooked for millennia. "It's like they're all reading different books," Martinez observed, watching her team interface with an abandoned Drachnid research station. But nobody ever thought to read them all together and write a new one. The Drachnid biotechnology, when combined with Centaurian quantum mechanics and filtered through human intuition, yielded possibilities that neither species had imagined. Humanity didn't just learn. They synthesized, combined, and transformed knowledge into entirely new forms. Back on Earth, Dr. Rodriguez worked with a team of xenolinguists and quantum physicists to decode what they called the language of reality, the fundamental principles that connected all galactic technologies. "Every species approaches the universe through their own cultural lens," she explained to the council. "We're learning to speak all these languages simultaneously." The galaxy's response to humanity's methods was mixed. Some species, particularly the younger civilizations, watched with fascination as humans bridged gaps in understanding that had existed for eons. Others, especially the oldest powers, regarded Earth's approach with growing alarm. "They're breaking down walls that exist for a reason," argued a Watcher elder in a secret conclave. The divisions between disciplines, between species approaches to technology, these are natural boundaries that maintain order. But humanity had spent too long breaking through boundaries to stop now. In the quantum shadows, human knowledge hunters continued their work, gathering not just information but perspectives, approaches, and possibilities that the galaxy had never combined. Admiral Morrison, reviewing the latest findings from the knowledge hunters, understood the true implications of their work. "We're not just learning their technology," he told the Council. "We're learning how they think, how they solve problems, how they see the universe itself. And we're showing them something they've never seen before: the power of synthesis." The breakthrough came in an abandoned system at the galaxy's edge. A team of human researchers, led by Dr. Chen, discovered ancient ruins that predated all known civilizations. The artifacts they found suggested a species that had achieved what the galaxy thought impossible: the complete unification of all scientific disciplines. The discovery sent shockwaves through the galactic community. The evidence was undeniable. Humanity's approach wasn't just different, it was awakening possibilities that had lain dormant since the dawn of galactic civilization. In response, some species began to change their own approaches to knowledge. Young civilizations especially started to emulate human learning methods, breaking down the artificial barriers between disciplines that had limited their development for so long. "We're not just advancing ourselves anymore," Morrison reflected, watching the spread of human influence through the galaxy. "We're showing them a new way to grow, to learn, to evolve. Whether they fear it or embrace it, they can't ignore it." The knowledge hunters continued their work, moving through quantum shadows, gathering insights from every corner of the galaxy. Each discovery, each synthesis of seemingly unrelated technologies, pushed the boundaries of possibility further. Humanity had become more than just another spacefaring species. They had become catalysts of change, breaking down millennia of established thinking patterns and showing the galaxy that the greatest discoveries lay not in isolation, but in connection. The age of separated knowledge was ending. The age of synthesis had begun, and humanity was leading the way into a future that even the oldest civilizations had never imagined possible. The Galactic Council chambers, silent for millennia, stirred with an energy not felt since the dawn of interstellar civilization. Representatives from every known species gathered to witness something unprecedented: the recognition of humanity not just as equals, but as something more. Admiral Morrison stood before the assembled powers, his presence a testament to how far Earth had come. Behind him, through quantum-enhanced displays, the combined achievements of humanity played out in a symphony of innovation that left even the eldest races speechless. "You called us primitive," Morrison began, his voice carrying across the vast chamber. "You watched us struggle, fight, and rebuild. You thought you were observing our limitations. Instead, you were witnessing our greatest strength, our ability to transform every obstacle into an opportunity." In the quantum shadows that now spanned the galaxy, human knowledge hunters continued their work, but no longer in secret. Their ability to synthesize disparate technologies and ideas had become legendary. Where other species saw boundaries, humans saw connections waiting to be forged. Dr. Chen, now leading the Unified Sciences Division, demonstrated how humanity had decoded the fundamental patterns connecting all galactic technologies. "The universe speaks one language," she explained to the Council. "Each species heard only part of the conversation. We learned to listen to all of it at once." The evidence was undeniable. Human quantum drives had revolutionized space travel. Their biological enhancements had opened new frontiers in consciousness. Their synthetic approach to knowledge had broken down barriers that had limited progress for millennia. But it wasn't just technological advancement that set humanity apart. It was their impact on galactic civilization itself. Young species, inspired by Earth's example, had begun breaking free from traditional development patterns. The rigid hierarchies that had maintained order for eons were transforming into networks of innovation and collaboration. "We didn't come to conquer," Dr. Rodriguez addressed the Council, standing beside Morrison. We came to connect, to show that true advancement doesn't come from isolation or competition, but from synthesis and cooperation. The Watchers, those ancient observers who had dismissed Earth for so long, now found themselves facing an uncomfortable truth. Their methodology of categorizing and controlling species development had been fundamentally flawed. They had been measuring progress by how well civilizations followed established patterns, never considering that true evolution might require breaking those patterns entirely. In the depths of space, human ships now moved freely through regions once thought impenetrable. Their quantum shadows had evolved from tools of concealment into bridges between realities, allowing them to explore dimensions of existence that other species had never imagined. The galaxy needed something different, Morrison continued, addressing the Silent Council. Not another empire building weapons, not another civilization following the same old paths. It needed innovators who could see beyond the boundaries of conventional thought. The evidence of humanity's impact was everywhere. Their quantum communication networks had transformed galactic commerce. Their synthetic technologies had solved environmental crises on dozens of worlds. Their knowledge-sharing protocols had sparked a renaissance of discovery across known space. But perhaps most significantly, humanity had achieved something unprecedented. They had risen to power without conquest, without subjugation, without forcing their will upon others. They had become apex predators not through dominance, but through innovation. "We are not here to rule," Morrison declared, his words echoing through the chamber. "We are here to evolve. Not just ourselves, but all of us together. The age of isolation is over. The age of synthesis has begun." The Council's recognition was unanimous. Humanity would be acknowledged not just as an advanced civilization, but as guardians of a new era. Their role would be to guide, to connect, to transform, to show the galaxy that true power lies not in control, but in creation. As the declaration was made, quantum shadows across the galaxy pulsed with new energy. Human knowledge hunters, their work now sanctioned and celebrated, continued their endless quest for understanding. Young civilizations looked to Earth not with fear or envy, but with hope and inspiration. The galaxy had gained something it never knew it needed: a species that could break down walls, bridge divides, and transform limitations into possibilities. Humanity had become more than apex predators. They had become apex innovators, apex synthesizers, apex transformers of reality itself. The age of watching was over. The age of humanity had begun, and with it, a new chapter in galactic history. Not an ending, but a beginning. A renaissance of possibility that would reshape the very fabric of civilization itself. And in the quantum shadows, Earth's children continued to explore, to learn, to connect, knowing that their greatest discovery still lay ahead. They had become not just the masters of their own destiny, but the catalysts for the destiny of all species who dared to dream beyond the boundaries of the possible.